Yo, how's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Aim to Be a Pokemon Master miniseries. Today we're going to be covering episode 8 in today's review. And in this episode, Ash and the others encounter a wild Banette that is causing a lot of mischief in this town, where it's stealing a bunch of people's hearts. Or like heart-shaped objects, not actual hearts. I should clarify that. But anyways, how was this episode overall? Well, before I get on the episode review, you guys know the drill. If you're someone that likes this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty awesome if you would do that. So the main premise of this episode is that Ash and the others come to this town. Not sure where we're at. Once again, there's a couple episodes in this series where we know where Ash and the others are at, and then other episodes where we have no idea where Ash and the others are at. So I'm not sure where we're at in this one. So if you know where we're at, comment down below, because I sure don't know where we're at this point. But anyways, we're at this random town, and there's a Banette that's causing a lot of mischief. It's stealing people's heart-shaped objects. So Ash helps out Officer Jenny track down this Pokemon. Turns out that the Banette is doing this is because it reminds it of its owner, a little girl that had a substitute doll and had a heart-shaped paper wrapped around its ear. Unfortunately for this Banette, it got left behind. When the little girl was moving out, the people that were moving all the stuff out of the house forgot the substitute doll, so it got left behind, unfortunately. So that's why the Banette is causing a lot of mischief. Once Ash and the others realize this, they decide to help it out. Now, I just want to mention really quickly, for the purpose of this episode, Ash has two of his reserves for this episode, and it's his Journeys Mons, Gengar and Dragonite. Gengar definitely makes sense for this episode because Gengar's a fellow Ghost-type Pokemon that also got abandoned, though under much different circumstances. Anywho, Ash and the others agree to help out Banette find its owner. So they go around town talking to people, and unfortunately they have no luck, and they're not able to find Banette's owner. Eventually Banette goes off on its own, so Gengar follows behind, and it decides to leave town. It gets on a train and it goes to take off. So Gengar rushes back to Ash and the others. And having looked at that picture that the Banette had, Brock manages to put the pieces together and realizes that the little girl is actually not a little girl anymore. It's actually Nurse Joy now. At least the Nurse Joy that's in that town. And Gengar rushes back to Ash, obviously, since Banette took off. So Ash rushes over, taking out his Dragonite, rushes out and catches up to Banette, eventually bringing it back to Nurse Joy. They reunite, they have a tearful reunion, and Banette actually ends up working at the Pokemon Center there. Oh, and Latias makes its regular cameo here. And that's pretty much the episode. Oh, and we also learned some more information regarding the upcoming Pokemon series. Even more so than the last couple of weeks, because we actually got a trailer in today's episode broadcast. And it's interesting to say the least. We actually heard Liko, Roy, and Freed's voices for the first time. It's interesting because Liko is voiced by the same VA that voiced Regina back in Journeys, so she went from, a character of the day to a main character, so that's quite a jump. Roy's VA is Karina's VA, so that's pretty nice. I want to say Freed's VA is brand new to Pokemon, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does. So yeah, I'm very excited for the new series. There's also a character that seems to be like a rival-like character. Who knows? Here's the poster for the upcoming series. And as you saw some images here, this upcoming series actually looks pretty interesting. I know that some people are a bit apprehensive to watching it just because Ash is no longer the main protagonist, but I'll just say, guys, just give it a chance. For all we know, it actually might be great. I'm giving it a chance. You should too. But that's just me. You do you, though. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about this really briefly before we moved on to the wrap up for today's episode review. And that we will do right now. But anyways, overall, I actually really liked today's episode. In fact, this is the best episode of the Aim to Be a Pokemon Master miniseries up to this point. It's a very solid episode overall. And I'm actually quite surprised because going into this episode, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. Much like with last week's episode, I wasn't looking forward to it. I thought, okay, it'll just be an alright episode. The series up to that point had been kind of just alright with some good, there was a couple good episodes, some meh episodes, but like with last week's episode, I wasn't looking forward to this one, but this episode subverted my expectations as it ended up being a really great episode. The writing in this episode was really good as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And at first, the pacing was a little fast. That's probably my only complaint with this episode. Was in the beginning, the pacing was kind of fast, but it seemed like as we got like more towards the middle of the episode, it seemed to kind of just readjust itself, and for the rest of the episode, the pacing was fine. But besides that, everything else was great about this episode. The writing was good. The whole thing with Banette being abandoned by its owner, you'd think that, it was left behind, or like maybe the little girl passed away or something like that, but they did it in a way that was kind of unique in my opinion, where it kind of unintentionally got left behind and ended up missing its owner. And then eventually it was Nurse Joy. So I thought that was cool. At least the little girl didn't die or anything. That's what I was expecting to happen, but it being Nurse Joy was kind of a plot twist, so that was pretty nice. Having Gengar be part of this episode was actually really nice, since Gengar relates. Gengar was abandoned by its owner in a much different way, because this owner didn't care about Gengar, whereas the little girl here cares about Banette. So, seeing it get reunited with Nurse Joy at the end of the episode was really cool to see. And having Gengar there obviously was really cool. Nice choice of Pokemon in this episode, by the way. Now, one part of the episode I thought was really neat was towards the beginning of the episode when Banette first showed up. It showed up looking like the Ghost Sprite from the Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow games, which I thought was a really cool reference to the original games. And the way they did it was actually really neat as well. I was not expecting that, I will say that. When I watched the episode when it was airing, it completely threw me off. As soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a second. I know where I've seen that before. From the original games. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool way to actually make that reference here in this episode. Oh, and I also want to give a shout out to Brock, because Brock's the one that actually put 2 and 2 together and realized that the little girl was actually Nurse Joy growing up. At least the Nurse Joy in that city. And in my opinion, the reason why I was able to figure this out is because our boy Brock is a simp for Nurse Joy. Obviously also Officer Jenny as well, but he simps for Nurse Joy, so I think because of him simping for Nurse Joy, he was able to put 2 and 2 together. So, yeah. In my opinion, Gengar and Brock were the MVPs here in this episode. More so Gengar, since it related to the Banette, but Brock also helped out here in putting 2 and 2 together, and was also another reason why Nurse Joy and Banette here were able to reunite. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for today's episode review. So overall, a very solid episode. I was actually impressed with this one. So I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. And just like I said with last week's episode review, I hope the rest of these episodes are all great. So hopefully the Team Rocket episode ends up being a great one. I'm a little nervous going into it, but hopefully my fears are washed away with next week's episode. We'll just see what happens with next week. But anyways, this was a very solid episode. So in the comment section down below, post your thoughts. What did you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And what are your thoughts about the upcoming Pokemon series? Are you excited for it? Are you going to check it out? Are you not going to check it out because Ash is no longer the main protagonist? Regardless, I'd like to hear your thoughts. And if you're someone that's new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and guys, have a good day or night, River Yet, and I will see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.